A new statewide initiative aims to house the most vulnerable Virginians among our homeless population and save taxpayers money. And our local faith-based and legal communities are helping to put food on the table for families struggling to pay the bills. Human Services Forum begins now. Hello, I'm Jan Callahan, and welcome to the Forum. More than 1,300 homeless individuals in Virginia suffer from chronic health conditions and disabilities, cycling between emergency shelters, jails, prisons, and emergency rooms, and all at the cost, an enormous cost, rather, to the taxpayers. Esther Robert of Virginia Supportive Housing and Lynn Ann Gornto with the Planning Council are involved in a statewide initiative that has been designed to address these concerns. And we have a name for this initiative as well, so we're going to launch right into what that is called. Lynn Ann.
1,000 Homes for 1,000 Virginians is part of a national campaign, and about 115 cities around the country are already doing this campaign. And what it involves is interviewing homeless individuals that we find on the streets and interviewing them with a vulnerability index to identify their medical risk factors. Then we put the information into a database so that we can create a registry of all of the people that we find with their health conditions, and then we are able to prioritize those with the most urgent medical needs for permanent supportive housing as soon as possible, as soon as housing becomes available, so that these individuals don't suffer anymore on the streets or even potentially die on the streets.
Okay, being vulnerable like that certainly does increase that risk quite a bit.
Absolutely. Some of the risk factors that we'll be asking them about when we do the interviews include things like kidney disease, liver disease, HIV/AIDS. Being over 60 years old and living on the streets is a huge medical risk factor. We also ask questions about cold weather injuries or heat stroke, things like that. We'll be asking about even things like substance abuse, mental illness, combined with a physical health problem. So we'll be able to prioritize those who need housing with support services.
And clearly Virginia Supportive Housing has a great deal invested in this.
We do. Virginia Supportive Housing provides permanent solutions to homelessness in Hampton Roads. We were founded in Richmond in 1988, and we've been in Hampton Roads for 5 years now. We have 3 locations, and we just broke ground on our 4th building in Chesapeake just last week.
Great.
So we will be providing another 60 units for single adults in Hampton Roads by the end of this year.
Okay. Is that type of housing or that particular housing going to be a part of this program, or is it down the road? I don't know how long it takes to go through these assessments that you're doing.
Right. Well, the survey will be done in mid-April, and we hope to have our building open by the end of the year.
Okay.
It does take a while to process individuals and to determine what housing is best for them. So hopefully we will be able to house some of the individuals we find on the streets in April.
I'd said at the beginning 1,300 Virginians. Do you have a sense of what the population is of vulnerable adults, or what you estimate it to be in this area?
Well, I know that our 1,300 is something in Southampton Roads. That's something that we can actually count, but that doesn't include the people that we don't know about. So we actually estimate that even just in Hampton Roads, there are probably 7,000 to 10,000 individuals who experience homelessness at some point during each year. They may not stay homeless, but they are homeless for some point. So it is a huge number of people who have that, who are facing real risks. And one of the interesting things that the research is showing us is that Virginia Supportive Housing and other permanent supportive housing units are the least expensive solution to ending homelessness. For example, we can house a homeless individual for about $14,000 a year in Southampton Roads. The alternative would be an emergency shelter, which we know is an expensive resource. That's could be $20,000 to $23,000 per person per year. Jails and prisons are about $24,000 to $25,000 a year, and then the last resort would be people using emergency rooms in hospitals as a shelter, and that's just an exorbitant cost to taxpayers. So we're trying to find a cost-effective and humane solution that works for the community as well as the individuals that we find.
And at Virginia Supportive Housing, we provide permanent solutions to homelessness. We have case managers in each one of our buildings.
Okay.
So the residents have someone there every day to help them solve their problems and move on to an independent life.
Right.
We have case managers that help with physical and mental issues, and we have a person who helps with employment. And of course, volunteers. We rely on volunteers, and we rely heavily on donations from those in the community.
Okay.
So
tell us a little bit about the volunteers, since there may be people that are interested in what that entails.
Great, yes. The event that we're going to hold will be the week of April the 15th through the 20th, this coming April, and it will be a 4-day volunteer project. On April the 15th, which is a Sunday, we're going to have probably a couple hundred volunteers do a training, and so they'll get the opportunity to learn how to do street outreach. We will pair them with seasoned outreach workers, so they will learn what to expect on the streets, how to approach people, and things like that. And then Monday through Wednesday of that week, from 4 a.m. to about 8 a.m., it's an early day, we will all go out and canvass the neighborhoods and communities where we think we will find homeless individuals, and conduct the interview, the vulnerability index, and talk with folks that we find. And it gives people who don't normally work with people who are homeless, it gives them that opportunity to see firsthand what that experience is like. And it's been really life-changing for some volunteers around the country. They've really shared the impact that that's made on them. So one of the unique things about this project is that we are engaging the whole community in helping us address homelessness. So we are asking for people to commit to the 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. time frame for 3 mornings in a row. But we also, I'd like to just let everyone know, we'd love to have corporate volunteer groups. We're reaching out to faith-based groups, universities and colleges in the area. So anyone who's interested, we will have a website where people can register online for that, and that'll be up and running shortly.
We have several city leaders who have signed on. So,
great.
Yeah, that's really wonderful.
Yeah, that certainly helps to get that kind of
Another part of the volunteer part of this is that when they come in off the street from doing the surveys, they download their pictures. We put it up on a big screen. Everyone who's come back in can see what other people experience. They share their stories, and it's truly life-changing.
Yes.
And Esther actually went out and participated in when Richmond did this. They're statewide. We've got Richmond, Roanoke, Martinsville, a couple of other communities, and we were there last August, and Esther went out on the streets at 4 a.m. with the folks in Richmond.
Yeah, it was a life-changing experience for me. To know about the concerns and problems for those persons that are experiencing homelessness, to read that and see that on paper is one thing, but to go out on the street and actually be in their space and be in what is their home, at least for that night, is very eye-opening.
Hearing their voices, not just hearing about it or what you might assume, that you can't pigeonhole.
Well, it changes your inner dialogue about the situation. Yeah.
Which is really huge.
It is.
And if you can have other people come along and change it too, you'll get more support, and so will they. I think having the capacity to go out there and help people, but also being able to address the cost is just win-win.
Exactly, yeah. And nationally, this campaign has housed over 12,000 people through this effort around the country. So we're hoping to house 100 people by July of 2013. That's our local goal.
Okay. And is this a year-to-year program then, or do you just try it for the first year and see how it works?
Well,
this is our first time, so we'll see what happens after this experience. We're very interested to see what we're able to do with the data and what type of change we can to bring about in our communities.
Okay. when you said you were going to have people come out and do some outreach on the streets, this is a separate activity from the count that is taking place in January, generally through the Planning Council?
Yes. The thing that's different about the 1,000 Homes campaign is that it's 3 days instead of just the one, which we're required to do by HUD every year. But the 1,000 Homes campaign is 3 days, and we ask much more detailed questions. It's much more of a conversation between the interviewer and the person who's experiencing homelessness. And there's that chance to establish a bond. And it's not just checking a box on a survey. And the other unique thing about this campaign is that this will be the first time that we will have information about medical conditions, and it will allow us to prioritize and systematically place people into housing in a way that we haven't done before.
All right, that's terrific. So you're getting started in April, and okay, and that's not too far away.
8 weeks.
So
we're counting down.
So the 1,000 Homes for 1,000 Virginians, and there's a contact number, and Lynn Ann, we talked about this yesterday, I believe, and so we had that put up on the screen if people wanted to contact you about pretty much anything, but you know, the volunteering, there it is. That is Lynn Ann's number.
Okay.
Folks. So just ask for her, unless she answers the phone herself, and she can fill you in on anything that maybe we weren't able to tell you here.
Sure.
So, Esther and Lynn Ann, thanks so much.
Thank you.
This sounds like a really interesting program, and I'll be very interested to see how it turns out. I know you will too. So, all right, thanks.
Thank you.
Well, are you a seasoned citizen who could use some help preparing your tax return? In our next show, we're going to meet some of the folks that make that possible. But coming up next, we're going to take a look at some of the people in our legal and faith-based community who are making sure that people get food on the table when they have a hard time making that happen. So we'll meet them when we come back.
Here's a tip from the IRS. Hi, I'm Hector, and I work for the Internal Revenue Service. So what if you have to file your tax return, but you still have not received your W-2? Employers should send this to you by January 31st. Give it 2 weeks to arrive in the mail. But if you don't get it by February 14th, the first thing you should do is contact your employer. If you've moved, make sure they have your current address. Now, if you do that and you still don't get your W-2, then call us at 1-800-TAX-1040. That's 1-800-829-1040. We'll send a letter to your employer on your behalf. Just give us your name, address, phone number, social security number, and the name and address of your employer and when you work there. In the meantime, remember that you must file on time even if you don't receive your W-2. You can use Form 4852 as a substitute for your W-2. Just list your estimated wages and withholding on Form 4852 and attach it to your tax return. You can use a pay stub or similar statement to help you estimate the amounts. Then make sure you file your tax return on time. If later on you should receive your W-2 and discover you have to correct your tax return, just fill out Form 1040X to amend your return. Learn more at irs.gov.
Close to 12% of Virginians are experiencing food insecurity. Simply put, they are not able to afford adequate nutritious food to feed themselves and their families. Enter our local business and faith-based communities who are very busy behind the scenes to ensure food is available to anyone who needs it. We have Susan Mayo, who is joining us as Chief Marketing Officer for the, well, who else? The Food Bank of Southeastern Virginia, a very well-known organization. So she's joining me along with Bill Nussbaum, who is an attorney from Williams Mullen, and he has an interesting role in bringing food to the table, and also Miss Lee Cornelius, who is with Temple Baptist Church, and she's a food bank agency partner. Welcome, each of you, to the show.
Thank you very much.
Each of you play a pretty big role in making sure people know that there is a need, and you continue to let them know this, because it can drop from the radar when you're tied up in other things. But it seems to be a very busy time of year for a lot of reasons. But we've got a lot of different groups involved in helping out. So let's start with Ms. Cornelius, because Temple Baptist Church it's located in Norfolk. And how long has the church been involved in this agency partner relationship?
We started with the food bank in 1979.
Okay.
Our pastor at that time wanted us to get started with it, so someone came from the food bank, and we started up. A church nearby sent us customers the first week that we opened up, and after that we haven't needed any help.
So you offer once a week to those who are in need. How many people do you service? Do you have any?
We see about 150 families every week.
My goodness.
So that usually runs 500 or 600 individuals, and of course many of them are children.
Yes. And they're the ones that certainly we have the biggest concern for, because nutrition plays such a great role in their development and growth. So, well, I suppose in a way, even though the need's there, and that's not always a good thing, but you have a way to address that need. And as a church, do you have a lot of your church members involved in making this happen?
What happened in the beginning, we only had about 3 or 4 of our own church members. But when we became got large so fast, people that came in that were recipients of the program, they are now my helpers. So they're really from other churches. I only have a couple of people from our church, sorry to say, but most of the people that go to the church where I go are older people. The ones that have been there any length of time, that were older. And we have a new generation coming up, but they're involved in working for their families and so forth. So most of them at our church are older. So we have individuals from other churches and who are our helpers.
How wonderful, though, that they step in like that and want to help out. So you're one of several churches in the area to be involved?
Yes, quite a few. There's quite a few of them in the area.
Okay, wonderful. Well, it's great to have a representative from that community, because we know it's a very important part of outreach for a faith-based organization, as well as for the food bank, because that's really what it's all about, isn't it, Susan?
It is, and I think what Mrs. Cornelius was saying is that her church is one of 325 partner agencies and programs that are located throughout our region.
Wow.
The food bank covers the whole southeastern portion of Virginia, the 5 cities plus surrounding counties, and we also service the Eastern Shore.
Okay.
And it's really through efforts such as Mrs. Cornelius and her church. They are truly volunteers that can make our food bank services available through their church pantries or their faith-based organization pantries. We have many synagogues and other, faith-based organizations that provide, these services. So her organization, her church, Temple Baptist, is a certified food bank agency. So if someone is listening today and, they know someone in their neighborhood who's hungry, they just call the food bank and give us their zip code. Then we'll provide to them the information of the closest food pantry to them. And then we also have the hours of operation and the names of those pantries published on our website. And I think the thing that's incredible is the length of time that Mrs. Cornelius has been involved, in this mission. And I was telling, giving us some information, before the start of this interview. She comes to the food bank every Tuesday. She drives her own truck. She comes and does the shopping for the food pantry, and she gets the food that she needs to serve her clients. And then the collaborative partnership with the other faith-based organizations in her neighborhood that are coming over to lend a hand and provide volunteers. It's truly a great partnership.
Yeah, that must feel really good.
Well, a lot of people seem to like it. They keep coming back, so we must be doing something right.
Well, because you really are doing something that is needed, and helping
Right.
people, and just being a part of that must feel great.
And in the face of hunger are people who, are underemployed, unemployed, and as we've mentioned, it's children. A third of the clients that we serve are children, and they're served through, pantry services such as our church partners or They're also served through our Kids Cafe after-school feeding programs, or our backpack program, which is our after-school feeding program. You know, that children get a backpack on Fridays to get them through the weekend. So, you know, there's a lot of services that the food bank does provide to
Yes,
the
I was
community.
going online and looking at all of them, and I thought, my God, I'm not going to remember all that and ask her about it. But you do have a variety of ways of reaching people who are in need, and if you are a person who has not been reached, then you can certainly contact the food bank. They're probably the best place to start, and then they can let you know what else is going on in the community. And which brings me to, of course, some other things that are going on in the community that you may or may not know about. I did not realize that it's been 6 years. This is the 6th year for something called the Legal Food Frenzy, which, if you just heard that name, you'd wonder, what in the world?
And it's, I believe
but it's legal. We know that much.
It's the 6th year statewide, but Bill has been involved with this initiative since the very beginning, so he can tell the history of how he helped to co-found this initiative.
All right, and just again, that Bill is in the city of Norfolk, is that correct?
Yes, I'm in the Norfolk office of Williams Mullen law firm. And the Legal Food Frenzy started out back in 1991, just after I had joined the food bank board of directors, along with Peter Huber, who is an attorney at Wilcox and Savage, and we were challenged by the then director of the food bank, Cindy Creed, who presented us with a newspaper story from Seattle about a law firm there that had launched a legal food frenzy, and it challenged the other law firms in their area to a competitive food drive to benefit the local food bank. And she said, why can't we do that here in Norfolk? So Peter and I recruited 3 other law firms, one from Virginia Beach, Pender and Coward, one from Chesapeake, and one from Portsmouth. Together we challenged the entire legal community to a legal food frenzy. And then the following year, the Norfolk and Portsmouth Bar Association took over the management of the legal food frenzy. That very first year we raised about 40,000 pounds of food, and this past year, now that the legal food frenzy has gone statewide, it raised 1,650,000 pounds of food. So it's grown quite dramatically over the last 21 years. It's really been very gratifying.
This includes you say the law firms. What about law students? Are they also invited to be a part of this?
Some of the law students are involved, and you know, other legal aid services too participate in the event.
So the invitation's still out there for other firms and what have you to join in if they have not in the past. I did not have a number up there for that specifically, but we know that Susan and the number to reach the food bank.
Just call the food bank, and we'll put you in touch with our coordinator who's handling the legal food frenzy.
Great. So call that number. You can find out pretty much anything you want to know, particularly about some of these food drives. So what do they do? I mean, they just collect. What kind of food are they collecting?
Well, we collect both food and funds. You know, some folks prefer to write checks, and others prefer to bring in canned food. The law firms get very creative. They have car washes and bake sales, and they, larger firms will set one department or floor against another floor, competing against each other. They have jeans Fridays, where if you put in $5, you get to wear jeans, and just a wide range of very creative opportunities. I've even seen managing partners subject themselves to a pie in the face if somebody gives a certain amount of money, or they'll dress up in a funny costume, or
that's brave.
That sort of thing. So, well, not for going to court, but
that not yet anyway, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful. So everybody kind of gets into the spirit of giving, but it doesn't necessarily have to be at one particular time of year. It's kind of carrying through. And this all takes place again in
April.
Yes, we're doing registrations now. So, but as Bill said, it's a friendly competition, and the fact that it started here in Norfolk and now it's grown statewide, and it's supported by the governor, and it's a very competitive event. Everybody has a lot of fun, but they're also raising significant pounds of food and funds for all 7 food banks throughout the state of Virginia. So it's truly a collaborative effort of something that started here as a best case model and has now gone statewide and has received national attention as well.
That must feel good too then.
The sponsor of the Legal Food Frenzy each year, now that it's statewide, is the Attorney General of Virginia, and who gives an Attorney General's Cup to the firm that wins. And through the Attorney General's patronage, actually when Governor McDonnell was Attorney General, he did a presentation on it at the National Association of Attorneys General, and now it's being imitated in other states as well.
Oh, right. This is great.
Started right here.
Just quickly, because we have less than a minute, about 45 seconds. Do you have another event coming up in March?
Our big event called Taste of Hampton Roads. Go to tasteofhamptonroads.org. It's our 23rd year. We'll have over 35 participating restaurants. Help come take a bite out of hunger, enjoy great food, and help raise funds actually for the food bank. So, and thank you for helping us to get the message out about helping to feed people in our community.
Well, I think each of these things is certainly a way to raise spirits of anybody who might be involved, whether you're giving or receiving. And thanks a lot for sharing the information. I'm hoping that will galvanize the community to get up and particularly volunteer or give. So thank you very much for taking the time to share this.
Thank you, Jan.
And thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next time.